What is up, everybody? It is Call, and you are watching Talking Ball. It's a great day, a great win for the boys, but some bad things happened too. I've got a wonderful guest here to kind of talk with me through all of this. It is the one and only Ian. What is up,
Hi,
buddy?
Cole. How you doing?
I'm glad for the win, but I'm worried about all these injuries, man.
Well, I used to come on when I started streaming to do football reports with people. Now it's medical reports.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's
it's almost now got to a point where if you were writing a football book, and you came up with all these injuries, you just go, "Oh, look, it's just got silly now." And unfortunately, we've got Sarr. The way he left the field, I'm sure most people, anyone watching would have, or people watching would have seen the way he went off in tears. Valif the same, maybe he'd been promised a little run of games, and he was obviously devastated as well. But
right.
Udogi, I think, struggled through. Royale struggled through. Um, it's almost not possible. Almost not possible. And we're still winning football matches. Yeah, we lucked a bit today. Lucked it a bit against Everton. But with the injuries we're having, I'll take any break we get. Any break
Yeah.
at all.
Same, absolutely same. And it's such a shame about Sarr because he was looking so good. So I just wanted to say I feel like our team's a different team with Sarr in it.
Yeah.
We look a lot better, a lot I don't know, a lot more progressive, I guess, with Sarr in the team.
I think that Sarr needs a good player alongside him. I think until he got injured, Sarr was my man of the match. For that half an hour or 35 minutes, whatever he was on, I thought he was the best player on the park. I think Bentancur coming back made a huge difference. I've said on a few streams, Colin, that the um, the um, the role, that pivot role, number 6 in Angie's system is, I hate to use this pun, um, pivotal in the way he plays. I know it's as good as I'm going to do tonight.
I loved
Um,
it. Actually, I loved it.
it's crucial, and we've got other players there, but Sar and Hoiberg and Skip, neither of them are good enough to play that role. Although Skip was playing further forward when he came in, he was a direct swap, but he doesn't have the ability. And I'm a fan of Skip. I watched him a lot when he was at Norwich and thought he could really step up. But
Yeah, I remember you talking him up, and you were very impressed with him in the championship. So yeah, I do remember that. I don't know what is it just that you think he can't make it the jump up? Is it just too much of a jump up for him? Do you think?
I think that's probably right. I mean, there was a lot of talk under Mourinho that he was a future Tottenham captain and what have you. Yeah, I don't think he's got enough ability. And I hate to say that, homegrown, come through the system, probably loves the club, but I just don't think he's got the ability. I mean, I broadcast with Mr. Daigle a few times, and we were both big fans of the boy Alex Scott, that when he was at Bristol City, and I was disappointed, particularly as he's a Spurs supporter. He comes from a Spurs family. I mean, I think he would have bitten your hand off if it had said we were interested, and he would have come on and done a job in a game like that. He scored one narrowly offside to have a second. Yeah, it is what it is. But I think he would have been English as well. He would have been a really good signing, and I think we missed the boat with him. I know he's only a sub for Bournemouth, but they got good players.
I was going to say they're a deep team with lots of good players. So being a sub for them isn't necessarily a huge slight against the man.
I think if people don't watch the English Premier League on a regular basis, it's maybe difficult to appreciate that the standard of the league from top to bottom is exceptionally high. and that anybody can beat anybody. I mean, even Luton, I didn't see the game because I was watching the Celtic Rangers game, but Chelsea are comfortable against Luton, and Luton come back and score twice and are giving them a real run for their money.
Yeah.
So,
you're right. Anybody can beat anybody in this league. It's definitely not one of those leagues where there's one or two teams at the top. One or two teams at the top that win every single game. We're not the Bundesliga. It's not. So that does make everything fun. I really quick wanted to say hey to everybody in the chat. There's like 100. Scott M is here and he's saying controversial Scott things, saying that we played terribly, got lucky that Bournemouth were awful today. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure Scott's a parody account, but there you go.
I still maybe think so too. I've never seen him happy about a match. Scott, have you ever been happy about a Spurs match? Let us know. And then I just wanted to tell everybody this is a dual stream. Jose's personal channel is also streaming this, Eltel Cockrell. So if you haven't, make sure you get over there. Here's you can click on that. It'll take you to his page. And make sure you like and subscribe. I also wanted to say hey to Chang. Chang is in the building.
Yeah. Hi, Chang.
Chang, the man himself, says,
Jose.
All-star performance wasn't entirely abysmal. It was days earlier away at Brighton. Richarlison could have had a hat trick. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true, and we'll get to that too. Ricky V is here, who I haven't seen in a long time.
Hi, Jens. Happy New Year, Jens.
It's been at least a year since I've seen Jens. So big up, Jens. Thanks for being here, my man. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Cody Fredrickson, this is one of my childhood friends. Says, man, these injuries are crazy, and he's 100%.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I interrupted you. Sorry about that.
Cody's got this 100. Just you put that up. Cody's got that 100% right in terms of abysmal. We were actually fine and playing some lovely stuff. The momentum really changed after Sarr went off the pitch. Absolutely, that's 100% right. It changed the whole dynamic. Yeah, it changed the whole dynamic. And we talk about a lack of strength in depth. But who can cope with this? I mean, seriously, it's unbelievable. The fact that we managed to win the game, at all. Never mind about Spurs pot Bournemouth, Jerry.
I had to make a little joke in there. Just
as long as Bournemouth's legal, that's fine by me.
We're all of age. Both teams, I think. But yeah, so. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest match ever. We didn't steamroll them, but we always knew coming into this game fatigued. Actually, let me back up. How surprised were you to see Bentancur in the starting lineup?
I was astonished.
Yeah.
There was no hint in the week that he was ready to start a match. There was a hint that he was ready to come back soon as a squad player. So you're thinking maybe after the break at the end of January. And then I read, an hour and a half before the game, that he was in the squad, and I think, well, that's encouraging. And then to look at the starting lineup and find his name there was absolutely astonishing. And Eltel makes an important point as well with Arsenal getting beat. Absolutely, 2 in a row. I mean, their supporters would have looked at the fixtures. Sitting on Christmas Day or whatever it was and saying West Ham at home, Fulham away, 6 points, got every chance here. And what do? They completely blow it. Obviously, I was watching our match, so I didn't see them against West Ham. I gather they were well beaten. And Fulham away, it's an indication of what I was talking about earlier, Colin, about the strength of the league. If you take a game for granted that you think you're going to win a game, you get rolled. You will get rolled.
I think that's what happened to Spurs. I think that's what happened to Spurs earlier in the week. I think that we rolled up and were a little too confident.
Yeah, maybe. I think the team selection was a bit iffy.
True. Yeah, that's a good point as well.
I love Ellie to pieces, and I know she's doing her own stream, so she won't see this. But she has a slight piece of myopia when it comes to Højbjerg. Højbjerg's fine to bring on when you just want to shore up a game. But he's not the player you bring on. I say for me under the Ange system, that pivotal number 6 pivot is absolutely critical. That you have to be able to receive the ball under pressure. You have to be mobile enough to bring the ball forward, and you have to be able to pass the ball well forward and back. And Højbjerg good player, good defensive cover midfield player in a two, but he just doesn't have what Ange needs, which is why there's been constant talk of him leaving. When they get the right money and the right player in to replace him, Conor Gallagher, please.
I've wanted him since I saw him on loan.
I've been in the Far East. Please.
There you go.
Conor Gallagher would be perfect for that role, and I know a lot of people say, no, he's a number 8. He'll play in a number 8 because his best days at Crystal Palace were when he was on loan at Crystal Palace, were playing as an inside forward as an 8, and that's fair enough. But he's been playing as a 6 for Chelsea, and he's been exceptional when I've seen him in that role. But Chelsea's problem isn't there. Chelsea's problem has been not putting enough balls in the net, and of course they got the boy Palmer. And the view Pep may have dropped a complete bollock without letting him go, because he's a class act. But moving on, this is a player that can play, and he can play at 6 or he can play at 8.
Yeah, versatile. I even think in a pinch you could stick him at a 10.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He's creative enough. He's a good player. Like you were saying, I was really impressed with him at Palace, and I would love to have him. I don't know how likely it is, given that it's Chelsea that we'd be trying to buy from, but maybe without Abramovich at the helm, maybe Todd's more likely to do business with us. Who knows? But Audio Artisan is in the house too. Saying, afternoon chaps, gutted for Sarr and Valise. Wasn't nice to see them go off like that, especially the Valise moments where he kept falling.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm sure he would have got a run. I mean, he does look the business. He absolutely looks the business. Can I just go back one thing on the Gallagher thing before we move on?
Yeah, of course.
One thing, we're in talks. It's a deal that's happening. Then yesterday afternoon on X, formerly Twitter, saying that there are no negotiations whatsoever. This morning I'm reading that the reason why Chelsea may be willing to sell us Gallagher is that they have a financial fair play issue, and he's a homegrown player. Now,
great profit there.
That's normally a double-edged sword, but because he's homegrown and trained at Chelsea, if they sell, they could sell Modric and lose 30 million on him. That doesn't help to your financial fair play, because you paid the 30, you paid the 70, 80 million, whatever it was. Gallagher, because they haven't paid a fee for him, everything that they make from that transfer, whether it's 40, 45, 50 million, goes straight to their bottom line, FFP. And that's why they're keen to sell Gallagher. Now, I can't speak for the efficacy of that. That was a new one on me, that's how FFP works. But, I mean, who knows? They seem to make those rules up as they go along.
I always feel like I'm learning more about FFP, honestly. It's a never-ending learning game. I think they're changing the rules as they go, like you said.
Oh, well, I was just going to say that. I think they do. They make it up as they go along. So let's punish little Everton, but Manchester City and Chelsea.
Yeah, they're fine. Let them do whatever they want. Yeah. So back to the Sarr injury. He played extremely well up until his injury. He got his head up and he took that shot across goal extremely well, I thought.
Didn't he?
And it's just such a shame. The fact that he was able to leave the pitch under his own, like he didn't have to be carried off the pitch. He walked off the pitch pretty quick, but obviously everybody saw him crying very, very hard. So I'm not sure what happened. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if it'll be a quick thing or, something that takes a long time. I'm still hopeful he'll get to play in the AFCON.
Well, it didn't look likely, but the Bentancur injury with Matty Cash, it wasn't. It didn't look like a tackle that would put him out for 6 weeks. Just didn't look like it. But so you don't always know. Sometimes I've seen players. Going back to my youth, Martin Chivers and Cyril Knowles, particularly Cyril Knowles, going down in a heap with no one around him. And whatever he'd done, he twisted and done his. Twisted his knee badly and was out. It was out for months. So sometimes the worst tackles don't cause the worst injuries. But just talking about the goal, he took it exceptionally well. But as a goal to concede, with the goalkeeper playing the ball out.
No kidding. It looked like something that we would have done last year.
Lo Celso intercepting intercepting the ball. Brilliant high press. But to get caught like that, and then the centre half has got, and he's worried about Johnson on the overlap, but he has to come out and block the shot, and he sits and he waits, tries to cover two options, covers neither, and a decent player just finds the far corner. Awful goal to lose, but a great goal for Sarr to score. He doesn't score enough, and in that position, he does need to score more goals. He needs to add goals to his game. To be truly effective.
Once he does that, he's going to be a monster if he adds goals to his game.
Player.
Absolutely.
I mean, the physique, the athleticism, his turn of pace, and as I say, pace is critical to Ange Ball. The ability to move the ball. I mean, he's a glorious player to watch aesthetically, but he's so effective.
And that's what happened when Skip came on. We just lost that bit of pace, that impetus to get up the pitch quickly, the ball control. Yeah. Skip's just not like you were saying. He's not cut for it. I want to go back to. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Colin. Your show.
No. I'm all over the place today. I'm just excited about the win. But Scott says, do people actually think we played well? I know Spurs fans have no standards, but that game was awful by us.
So I'm not even gonna discuss it. I'm just not.
Yeah, United played all kinds of matches. I mean, ask what teams need to win ugly. Winning ugly is really important. Arsenal couldn't win ugly today. No. So do I think we played our best match ever? No. But do I think we won the match and got 3 points? Yes. So
we scored 3 goals without playing well. On another day, we lose that game. I mean, they had plenty of chances first half. I mean, I don't know. At one point, they had 18 shots, 2 on target. I don't know how many it finished. I think that was before the goal. So they must have had more than that. But you've got to finish. No, of course, we didn't play particularly well. But the thing I love is, one, we're trying to play from the back, and we've got players that try to play from the back.
Yes.
And the other thing is that when we've got the ball, every time we look like we might score. I've just seen a comment there from Chang on one of the group chats. The terms are agreed, just sanction the deal. I think he will. I don't think there'll be any problem. I'm not having a go at Levy yet. The transfer window doesn't open until. It certainly doesn't open until at least midnight tonight, maybe later. So,
if we get somebody in that early, like if we get somebody in first week of the transfer window, I'll lose my mind. That'll be insane to me.
Yeah.
Even if it's only the Yatta or whatever, even him at the beginning would make me happy just to see the ball start to roll.
I think with the injuries, I mean, Levy is not a stupid man. Anything but a stupid man. And he will know, and he's now got the team. There's Parisici's obviously still working in the background. He's got Scott Munn. He's got the guy they got from Villa. They've got some serious. There's no point in having people like that working on transfers and then saying, "Oh, we're going to wait till the last minute of the transfer window and try and get a bargain basement." I said on an earlier stream that I thought we would have 4 in this season, and I might be wrong. Well, the cat's not coming, and the cat needs to up its fitness levels as well by the look of him.
He's put on a couple pounds. He came back from break a bit overweight, a couple of stones. So we need to get him back down to.
Needs to do a bit of training. He's
been on the Ndombele regime.
I mean, the Ndombele, the Ndombele of Michigan State. Yeah, very good. Put me off now. Where was I? Yeah, about just how we play. I mean, the other thing is we scored 3 goals. We look like we can score every time we go forward. Every time we've got the ball, we look like we're going to score. The team is so pleasing on the eye compared to the Conte days in particular. The second season of Conte was just atrocious. This season, even when we don't win, we're looking to try and play football. And as perfectly dry roasted peanut absolutely says, we're going to get better with our players coming back. That's a given. I mean, I think we desperately miss Maddison. desperately are missing Maddison. I'm getting deja vu here. It's
I
like
know.
Groundhog Day, Colin. With Maddison in particular, Sarr, I think we're going to get another centre half, which is going to help. Although I thought Royale and Davis. I mean, Davis is not everybody's cup of tea, but he's a really intelligent footballer. He knows the game. He reads the game. I thought the two of them were brave and committed. I thought Udogie was exceptional. I mean, absolutely exceptional. He had a superb game. Lo Celso seems to be growing. There was a quote I read yesterday, I think, about how much he's enjoying it at Tottenham. And I think for the first time, he might be settled at Tottenham. And I think one of the things about Ange is he doesn't work with big squads. But what he'll want is somebody to cover in every position. So let's assume we get the Romanian boy from Genoa. Let's assume that happens. Then he's covering the right side. I think he'll be happy with Davis, certainly covering the left centre half position. Albeit, I appreciate his best position is left of a three, and we're not playing that. But when you start to look then at having Bissouma, Bentancur as cover for the pivot, you've then got Maddison, Lo Celso, Sarr, and maybe one other, and this is where maybe Gallagher comes in. You've suddenly got some really good players with some really good cover, where you can rotate players if someone gets injured or suspended, or you just want to give someone an hour, which he did a lot at Celtic, and bring someone else on with the same level of ability. Now, we're a little bit away from that. We are a little bit away from that yet. Emerson Royal, I thought, was exceptional today compared to his game on Tuesday or whatever day it was.
I've lost sense of days.
Thursday it was. You lose track of the days at this time of the year. It was Thursday.
You sure do.
Compared to there, where he was a little bit over all over the shop, and Spence is playing really well for Leeds, and I still think there's a player there. I also think he's a perfect player to play Ange ball. And you think him and Porro on the left, maybe another left-sided defender, still a little bit shy up front, but Velicic, if he's going to be out, you bring another forward in. Maybe Jota coming in from Saudi, because he's not settled there for reasons I've said on a stream last week, and one of your streams last week, that we won't go into. But the story is they'll maybe let him go, or they'll rip up his contract and let him go. And suddenly, if the players are staying fit, we're really there to make a challenge.
Yeah,
we're really there to make a challenge. I wouldn't actually be devastated. I hate to say this, because certainly on a stream of yours earlier, we're talking about finishing the top four and winning the cup. I would actually, at this stage with the injuries, say, well, play a young team on Friday and hope upon hope that we get through it and we don't get any more injuries, but at least make a really solid attempt, because the title is as open as it's ever been. And it's as open as it's ever been because Manchester City are struggling. They've had injuries as well. But I think more importantly, it's so difficult when you've won the treble to motivate yourself week in, week out to achieve the levels that they did last year. And last year, we went into the season thinking anybody who wins the league, if anybody finishes above Manchester City, they will win the league. Manchester City aren't guaranteed top four. I think they will. But when you think we're only a point behind Arsenal, despite these injuries, we're not that far behind Aston Villa, who fluked it a little bit against Burnley. They were a little bit fortunate. They got a dodgy-ish penalty to win the game in the end. I'm not, much as they're a good side, I'm not sure they're yet top four.
Right.
Liverpool, they're good, but you wouldn't say I'm scared of Liverpool. They might win the league, but they haven't won it for a long time. It's maybe there like 2016 for somebody to come from the pack and win it. And
Cody
if Leicester
Cody
can
says
win it,
here,
why not us, Colin?
100%, 100%. And Cody, I just wanted to say, Cody Fredrickson agrees with you completely. He says the season has
Yeah.
been the most competitive he's seen from the Premier League in years.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is because, certain teams have improved like us. Even Arsenal have got better. But Manchester City have come back to the pack a little bit. Aston Villa, of course, probably the most improved side in the league. But Manchester City have come back, and that's been critical. As I say, it's difficult week after week. And maybe they're thinking the Champions League's their best option this season because there's, at the end of the day, you've only got to get the better of six or three ties, 6 games. You've got to get the better of them, and you're playing in the final again. But United States Spurs of America, I gather you have a great show, and I need to know when it is because I don't think I've seen it unless I know who you are without knowing who you are. But I hear you have a great show, sir. And 3 points, yes, sir, absolutely. At the end of the day, that's what matters. Winning ugly when we've got the injuries that we've got and we continue to win matches.
Exactly. Yes.
How critical is that?
And Quez's comment here says it all. I mean, people keep saying exactly what you're saying. It's working out great, but he says, "Big up, 3 points off the top with a decimated first 11 going into the new year. Top players expected to be back at the end of the month. Could be worse. I'm thankful," says Quez. What's up, Quez? Big up. Glad you're here. And I agree completely.
I think just to add to that, I think because I live in Scotland and I watch Celtic that I'm quite familiar with Ange Ball, and I think I'm clued up on what he's trying to do, and I would have thought it would have taken him a little time. He normally starts slowly and then really gets into the job, and I think we've had. We've had a really, really good run of results compared to what I expected. The last thing I thought, he would be manager of the month 3 months running and we would be top of the table. And the project, in my view, is way ahead of schedule. I thought we might be 6th or 7th at this point, maybe 3 or 4, 3 or 4 points off, maybe off 2nd or 3rd or whatever, but we would be a little bit behind. And we're 5th, we're a point behind Arsenal. Well, we're only 3 points off the top. I mean, I know Liverpool have to pay tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. You are correct. You're correct.
I think are they at home to Newcastle? I can't remember where Everton played yesterday.
I'll go look it up here. No, all good.
But I mean, either way, we're right in there, and I'm absolutely certain when we get the players back, and maybe come February. I keep thinking, can we get to February? Get the players back, get a couple of signings in. And if we're in contention there, and we look like we're bound to be in contention because there aren't enough games now for us to fall out of contention, that we can really do something. We can absolutely do something. So I'm really optimistic of what 2024 might do. Ange's won titles in Australia, Japan, and Scotland. Now, that's not to say, and I know people say, but it's different in England. Yeah, of course it's different in England. But the fact is, and he's a big Aussie as well, and Aussies don't take steps backwards. He knows what it's like to win. He knows what it's like to get a team over the line. And if you've got the players, which we have, and we're getting more, I'm not saying we're going to win the league, Colin. I would never predict that.
If I ever say that, it's in jest, and I'm just having fun and getting excited.
But I keep looking at the table. I keep looking at Manchester City, because that to me, if you can finish above Manchester City, you can win this title. And we've still got Arsenal coming to Tottenham. We've still got Manchester City to come to Tottenham. With the electric atmosphere there and what have you. As long as we're in contention and the players are coming back, I mean, how Maddison makes that team tick if Maddison comes back fresh. And of course, they'll be fresh for the end of the season. We've got players now that are playing on empty, that are really running on empty gas tanks. Yeah. When the players come back, they're fresh and they're really excited. With 3 months of the season to go, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just wanted to read out Henry's comment here. Excited to get the points. It's safe knowing we are among the best when it comes to counterattacking and are clinical in front of goal. Glad Bentancur is back and curious to see how we line up against Man United. Want to say big up Henry. I agree. We are one of the best counterattacking sides, I think, in the Prem. Thanks to Jose Mourinho for that. I feel like he was the first one that really kind of set us up with that like ultra counterattacking style.
Yeah.
But did you think, really quickly, did you think Sonny was a little bit uncharacteristically off today?
I thought Son was exceptionally poor, probably for the first hour. I thought he came into the game better, and certainly with his goal and what have you. But when he's playing wide left and he's looking across the line and he's constantly offside, I mean, I actually put on one of the football chat some of us are on about if he's offside once more, I'm going to chuck a brick at the television. Because it's so frustrating. And anyone who knows anything about football, you know, when you're making a straight run through the defence, you're waiting on a ball that's threaded through from Lo Celso or whatever, then there's always a chance you're going to just run a little bit early. But when you're looking across the line, all you need to do is make sure you're behind the penultimate defender or the last defender, excluding the goalkeeper. All you've got to do is just watch that line and make sure you don't go too early. And most of the time, he's in a lot of space. So it's not as if that extra yard makes any difference to the position. If you're running through the line and the pass is just delayed and you're waiting for the ball inside the fullback, okay, that happens. But I thought, I don't know whether he's got, the Asian Games in mind or whatever, whether he's just one of those ones that's tired and tired body and a tired mind and all that. Wayne, I love it, Wayne. After bottled the league early this season.
Yes, big up Wayne. Wayne Bonner is the man.
Absolutely. Bottled it. Well, he's hoping. It might be that they have this is their bad run, like we've had ours.
Yeah, but to think we're just 1 point behind them after having like a winless November is pretty amazing to think about. So hopefully this bad patch is behind us. We've got Jay Ashraf in the house saying that we definitely need another midfielder, like you were saying, asking if we have any idea how bad Sarr's injury is.
No, it's too early.
Yeah,
it'll need a scan and everything. But the way he went off in tears, can't fool players. I think he probably knows that
his body
is going to be 3-4 weeks at least. Knowing ours, it's 3 or 4 weeks for everybody, but 2 months for ours. Which I agree we'd need to get another midfield player in. Albeit, you can't just keep signing players because you get one injured. So you then at next season when you've got 12 midfield players and go, who are we going to sell? But Benty comes back, Maddison comes back, Lo Celso's hitting some real form. I think we will get one. I think I certainly think Pierre will go. And I think if he goes, there'll be one more coming in to replace him and a better option, as I said earlier. Ian, we definitely need a midfield player in too. No idea how bad. So, yeah, I think we do. And I think we'll need one. I think we'll certainly need one. We'll certainly need one to cover now for Sarr. But secondly, because I think they'd like to let Pierre-Emile Højbjerg leave the club. And as I say, I think that's right for him. I think he'd suit a better system now, and I think it's right for Ange. He needs a ball player in there to play Ange ball effectively when the ball's received in tight areas from the defence. But I tell you what, if I could turn back a clock, if I could give you any player from our recent history to play in that pivot six. Give me Moussa Dembele.
Oh yeah.
Every day of every week, his ability to hold the ball, turn, drive. I'm just getting excited sitting here thinking about him in that team.
I love that man. I love that man so much. He's definitely a real Tottenham legend. I would go as far as to say that. I know that he didn't really achieve anything trophy wise, but one of the best players I've ever seen put on a Tottenham shirt.
Yeah.
And So we've got Donna Cullen in the house. Wagwan, Mr. Colin. Wagwan, Mr. Meth. Dirty Sanchez is in the house. What's up, Dirty Sanchez? We've got all kinds of people here, but I just keep wanting to put. I just don't want to. I don't want to get into it. But Scott, I don't know what.
It's a parody account. I'm absolutely certain of it. Has to be. It's a parody account.
It must be.
It has to be a parody account.
Yeah. It has to be. Has to be. Beer talking beer is in the house saying, "Dig up, I'll take the win." It's not a coincidence that Dyer comes on and we concede it.
I knew somebody would say that.
Yep.
I knew somebody would say that. But sorry, I'm unmuted. No, it came up mute.
No.
I knew someone would say that. I didn't see him at fault for the goal, but yeah, we do seem to concede when he comes on. But
I thought it was weird. I thought it was weird since somebody brought it up. I thought it was weird that we saw him come on over Dorrington or Phillips. First of all, I don't know who was on the bench, so I assume they both were.
Phillips was. I don't think Dorrington was.
Okay.
Okay. I'm using my phone because it didn't come up, so I can't look. I don't believe that Dorrington was on the bench, but I think Phillips was. Look, I've said this, and I've had this debate with others, Colin. I haven't seen Phillips play. I haven't seen him play. Now, maybe the manager doesn't see. He said he sanctioned the deal. Maybe he doesn't think he's ready yet. We're 3 up. I think if that would to me be a time to bring on a young player, albeit they get one and you think, Christ, if they score a second, I'm gonna be watching the game in the loo. But
behind the couch.
Behind the couch, yeah. But I mean, the reality is the manager clearly doesn't fancy him, doesn't trust him.
Mom in here saying that Scott needs a hug.
Hi, Julie.
Yeah, she said, "Big up, boys."
Do you love me? Hi, Julie. Can I have your phone number?
I was gonna say, hey, no, but Blue's in the house also saying when we had our fit players in the bench, used to be subbed in the 70th minute. Now we have to watch him play with very thin squads. Yeah, 100%. Everything is gonna. I think we're gonna turn the corner after January, after we get our injured players back, and then hopefully bring in a couple more. I mean, I know that sometimes players brought in January don't make a huge impact. But I believe if they're defensive players, they can slide in easier, in my opinion. So,
I don't get the impression Mickey van der Ven is that far away. I don't get the impression Romero can be that far away because he was only going to be 4 or 5 weeks. Plus, I think we're getting this boy from Genoa tomorrow or Tuesday.
The Dragusin guy. The guy that sounds like a Bond villain, is that who you're talking about? Radu Dragusin?
Yeah, the Romanian. I ought to write down the names so I've got them all in front of me. It doesn't sound very, very good, the Romanian from Genoa. I should be better than that.
You're good. But no, he looks quite a player. I would have rather had, from the bits that I've seen, the Tobito character. But and maybe we'll get both. Who knows?
But it's not impossible. But I think this is where, again, we appear to be learning. Whereas instead of just waiting and hoping that deal gets done, again, I mean, no one wants second string options. But, you remember what you read on social media when we got Vicario.
I do. I was one of those same people. I was mad about it.
Typical Levy goes for the cheap option every time. But I thought Brentford's asking price of £40 million for Raya was ludicrous for a player with his with a year left on his contract. But what's absolutely certain is the boy Vicario is a sensation, and we could get 10 good years out of him. So it's not what you pay. We paid £63 million for Ndombele. That's the measure of you. It's not what you pay. Tobito, it doesn't sound like they're keen to sell him, and you don't know how keen the player is. So rather than waiting to the 15th of January and the 16th of January, and then there's still negotiations, and there may be progressing, there may be not, and then you get to the 25th of January and suddenly you're under pressure to make the deal and you haven't really got a proper contingency plan. You say, this player's available. Apparently they want 30 million. We've now offered 25. That's a gap that in football it sounds like a lot of money, but is usually bridged quite quickly.
Yeah. And we do know that Paratici likes
done in the next day or two.
I sure hope you're right. And we know that Paratici, and I know that he's not kind of at the helm or leading the transfer stuff anymore, but he's still got to be playing a role. And you know that he would have 4 or 5 deals going at once. I don't know if they were smoke screens or if he just didn't want to be left with no one. But I kind of think that's what we're seeing a little bit of here, sort of like you alluded to.
I think, as I said, Levy's not stupid. And he'll look at the table. And he'll probably be told by that. There's a lot of football people at this club at the moment. A lot of football people who are saying we can really compete here, Daniel. But with the injuries, we need the players and we need them in early, rather than nickel and diming teams for the sake of it. You know, if they want 30 million and we're prepared to pay 25. They made clear they want 30 million. Offer them 27.5 with add-ons. But get the bloody deal done. Just get it done. If that's the player the manager wants, and we need a centre-half, let's not kid ourselves. We need a centre-half. Get the deal done. Get it done. Yeah? 100%. Because winning the league or even finishing 4th instead of 5th makes... get the checkbook out. Absolutely. You know, I think he will. I genuinely think there's a change in attitude in the club. I just get that idea. And this time last year, and I'm trying to think, Iwata and O and maybe another, I'm absolutely certain on like the 30th or the 31st of December, Celtic announced 3 signings that were being made.
Wow.
And that's how Ange wants it. And I think behind the scenes, he will be saying, get these deals done and get these deals done now.
I hope you're right. And with your knowledge of Ange and Celtic and knowledge I don't have, Audio Artisan has a good question right here. Basically, your thoughts on, I think it's Rio Hitate? Is that how you pronounce that guy's last name? I don't know. Do you think he'd be an upgrade on Pierre if he was to come here?
Different player. He plays one of the inside forwards.
Okay.
As does Matt O'Reilly, who, funnily enough, I think would be a great signing. But some of my Celtic fans aren't convinced, friends, that he's good enough for the EPL. Hatate at Celtic. He's been injured, and that's the other thing. Audio Artisan. He has been injured and was only on the bench for Celtic and didn't come on yesterday. So I think he's a fair way from match fitness, which is not what we need. He's a good player, lots of skill, lacks pace. Lacks pace. I think there's better out there, if I'm honest. And in fact, if I was picking one, I'd probably go for O'Reilly. But Hatate is a class act. If you're looking for somebody to sign from Celtic, I would take Kyogo every time. And if you haven't had a look, is that Julie? No,
it's my friend Sean. It's Sean from the comments. He's here now.
Hi, Sean.
He says hi.
If you haven't seen guys in the chat, go on Google or YouTube rather. Have a look at Kyogo's goal yesterday out of nothing. He is a natural goal scorer, and he is a player. He would make a massive difference because he scores, and the chances we create with a natural goal scorer. You know, you look at a Kane or a Lineker in that side, and you go, "Oh my God!" You know.
Yeah.
And Kyogo's not quite in that class. I won't kid myself on that. But Kyogo's the kind of player that would score a lot of goals for us.
So bringing up goals, and then we've got players scoring goals. Richarlison bags another today.
Yeah.
Do you think he's finally turned a corner of sorts, or do you think that it's just like a patch of decent form?
It's interesting. I'm going to say yes. I think there's a couple of things. I think he's one of those players that needs a mollycoddle and someone to put their arm around him and tell him how wonderful he is. I think he's probably a little bit soft like that. But different people need managing different ways. And I think we're starting getting the best, Andrew's getting the best of him. That's the first thing. The second thing is that, one, he appeared to have some psychological problems. And that's not surprising. Footballers are under massive amounts of pressure and media spotlight. So it's maybe not surprising that some of them get a little bit screwed up in the head. The other thing is he was carrying an injury. Now, he went to wherever it was he went to get the injury. Sorted. Now, it maybe says a bit about our medical people that they weren't able to sort it. But he had 3 weeks out. He had some minor surgery, and he's come back. And he looks good. He's got, he's strong. He holds the ball up well. He's certainly not bottling any challenges. Yeah, he misses a couple, but find me a centre forward that doesn't. But he took his goal wonderfully well, again, in a real good poacher centre forward position. There's talk that if they got a big bid from him from Saudi, that they would take the money.
Now I wonder.
Well, you could get Kyogo and Hatate for 60 million, more under 60 million or 50 million. So, I think they might. If they got a big bid, they might take that money. Because I think he'd like to play Sod inside and Jota would play wide left. Johnson, I think, has got a little bit to go yet.
But we also have to remember, people were talking kind of badly about Johnson today, but we got to remember it took Sonny a little bit too, and Sonny is one of the most immense players on the team. So, I mean, I think that Johnson's, like you said, got a little while to go, but I think he's got the tools, and I think that he'll be a really good asset. I think he has the tools. I was watching the game with my younger daughter and her partner today, and I talked about, you see this with players, that they go to bigger clubs. When I was a kid, used to go, I'm talking about the late 60s, used to go and we've signed Martin Chivers, isn't it good? Oh yeah, but he'll take a year to settle in, son. Any older people watching will remember when a player signed for Liverpool, it took they put him in the reserves for 2 years. That was the way Liverpool did. And it sometimes takes players a little bit of time to settle. And Johnson is maybe one of those players, he's still young, that needs to convince himself that he's good enough to play for Tottenham. A couple of goals, a couple of runs past players or whatever, and it will come for him. There was a little joke. Bob Paisley won just go back to the Liverpool thing. Bob Paisley won the Manager of the Year awards for the, 78, 79, whatever year it was. And he, the Pope had come, John Paul I? Anyway, came to Britain. And we hadn't had a papal visit in Britain for a long, long time. And he said about the Pope, that the Pope had come. He'd come to London. He'd gone to Birmingham. He'd gone to Manchester. He'd gone to Glasgow. He would have come to Liverpool, but he didn't want to spend 2 years in the reserves. And that was Bob Paisley's great joke, because that was how Liverpool did it. You didn't come in as just a natural first team player. You came in and you learned how to play under their coaches, and you learned how to play the Liverpool way. Now players come in, people want the finished article, and they demand the finished article to come in and deliver at once. I remember when Thierry Henry, sorry I may be talking too much, but remember when Thierry Henry signed for Arsenal, and we had a programme then called 606, which was a radio broadcast on Radio 5 that former politician David Mellor used to present on the radio, and it came on at 6:06 when the 6 o'clock news finished on Radio 5 Live. And someone came in from a game. Thierry Henry had played his first game for Arsenal, played on the outside left, and as a kid phones up and says, I want to complain.
Arsenal have signed Henry. He's absolute rubbish. What a waste of money. That was after he played. Yeah, sorry, I nearly made you choke on your.
That was hilarious.
Coffee.
That was hilarious.
And that's all right. That's a kid. That's a father that's let his son phone up, and maybe his son agreed and said, "Okay, you phone up and say." And that's a player after 45 minutes has judged a player who went on to be one of the greatest players in Arsenal's history. So
yeah, one of the greatest players in Premier League history. Yeah. I don't like saying that about an Arsenal man, but
he's got a long way to go, Johnson. But you start writing players off at this stage, it's beyond crazy. It's absolutely beyond crazy.
Surely is. I completely agree with you. Especially one that our manager specifically picked out and wanted, at Celtic, wanted him here. Let's see how it plays out. Let's give the man a chance.
I liked him at Nottingham Forest, and I was delighted when we signed him. So I'm certainly not going to change my mind now.
A lot of people weren't, though. If you remember, a lot of people were like, 40 million for this guy. But armchair managers and all that. I play one myself sometimes. Mom says that poor Valise, he looked so shattered when he came off, and now we're letting her know that it looks like he did his ACL, is what everyone's saying. I really hope that's not true. But
who's done his ACL?
So Valise is what they're saying. They're saying that's what his.
If Valise has done his ACL, you're not going to see him. You're not going to see him for the thick end of a year.
Yeah.
And no wonder maybe the medical people are good enough to say we know it's. I did wonder why he was crying so much, because it looked bad, but
and you can feel that pop, and
the medical people would know, and they would know quite quickly, the physios, where the pain is as to what part of the knee. That's devastating for him. That's absolutely devastating. Yeah, I've seen your mum's comment there. Yeah, I understand that now, Julie. That makes total sense.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I wonder too, ACL injuries are seeming so much more common. That's a conversation for another day, but I don't know why there's so many more knee injuries happening than there used to be. Maybe it's just because the demands on the players are more. You know what I mean? We're taking
I think there's a lot to say for that, and the ACL is much. I've had a medial cruciate ligament, and it's nothing near as serious. I wouldn't want to be playing football, but at my age, no, I wouldn't want to be playing football at all. But I can still walk and run up the stairs and stuff with it.
Did you have, just out of curiosity, did you have surgery to get that fixed, or did that heal on its own?
What's interesting, Colin, I don't know how much you follow the women's game, but the women suffering from a lot of ACL injuries, and apparently it's. I mean, I don't know, and I understand the physiology of women, but I don't understand the physiology of why it's caused. But the fact that they've got big pelvises and smaller thigh muscles, what have you, is apparently that's what's causing the extra pressure on the cruciate ligament, because everything's connected. Don't you have that song, the knee bone's connected to the thigh bone. I don't know if that
I haven't heard that song in a while.
Translates into the United States, but and so everything connects, and apparently that's why. But you'd need a proper physiotherapist to explain why women get, and they're young women as well, are getting so many more ACLs. But it's a serious injury. It's a really serious injury, and it's a shame because the boy looks good. Dreadful joke, by the way. When he came on, and I'm talking to my daughter's partner, and I'm saying, I really like this boy Valise. He's got real presence. And he says, yes, but that's because it's Christmas.
Oh God, no! I like it. That's a good deal.
If the line suddenly goes dead, I know I've been thrown off the show for that, and I'm going, Nat, leave him, Natalie, get him out. He's gone. He's history. Jokes like that, yeah.
I love it.
But he does. He has real presence up front. I really like the look of him, and it's a real shame. He's, can he not just have strained a groin muscle and be out for 2 weeks like normal footballers? But no, it doesn't happen to us.
Not Tottenham. Not Tottenham. It's a good thing. Somebody else was saying in the comments, it's a good thing that we have recalled Dane Scarlett. We will need another forward to be able to come off the bench. So hopefully hopefully he can
What
perform to
bothers
some
me, and this is
standard.
another player everybody's got big hopes for, like, a bit like Skippy. The difference is that while Skip started every game for Norwich and was running their midfield when they were winning the title by a distance,
True.
Scarlett can't even get in their team, and that bothers me. You know, two teams. I don't know if you know the geography. Two teams on the east coast of England, very close to each other geographically, so they're big rivals. Norwich, 2-3 seasons ago, running away with a title. Skip running the team. Ipswich in contention for a promotion place. Big contention. Scarlett's not getting near the team, so I'm a bit bothered about that. And much as having bodies is one thing, having bodies that can come on and really deliver is another. But he might play in the cup on Friday. I mean, Son looked knackered.
He did. By the 50th minute, I thought he looked done.
He looked like he got stronger. Funnily enough.
Really?
There was one he should have done. One he should have done better on, but of course, Richarlison should have scored. Richarlison should have scored with the one where Sonny threaded him through, and he took his goal really well. And of course, 2-0 gives you a bit of breathing space in a game when you're a little bit against the play and
backs against the wall for 10, 15 minutes at a time at times. Yeah, so for sure,
absolutely.
One thing that my mom put in the comments, I don't want to lose it. She said that she was talking about Gio Lo Celso. She said, I'm beginning to think that Gio is too much of a hothead. He's always mixing things up with the opposition. But we've cried out for that. I feel like him being a hothead isn't necessarily a terrible thing, unless he starts getting red cards. But did you see? Do you think there's anything in that?
Surely he's Argentine. What do you expect?
Exactly. We got rid of Lamella. We needed Lamella. That was Lamella's whole job.
My Spanish is too rusty to try and say what I'm trying to say. But if you're Lo Celso was my man of the match today. It might have been Sarr if he'd have stayed on, followed very closely by Udogie. But I thought Lo Celso was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I don't know where that parody account comment went, but I thought Lo Celso was brilliant today, and that's almost like a new signing. If he plays that way, I mean, they said something. I know again we had the volume down, so I didn't hear all the commentary when me and Steve and Nat, her partner, my daughter and her partner, were talking about the football, and there was something about Messi, and I know Messi is on record as saying he thinks Lo Celso is one of the Lo Celso is one of the best players in the world. My Twitter just came up; it's flashing on my phone every time that that Valise left on crutches with his leg in a brace. So, I mean, I don't know where. I mean, nothing's come up to say it is an ACL. And maybe it is an ACL, but as in we don't get minor injuries, so you just got to assume when a player goes off, he's out for weeks and weeks, if not months. It's I'm not a religious man in any shape or form, but I think if I were Daniel Levy now, I would be having an exorcism, because no one can get this unlucky without someone putting a spell on you. I know it's
maybe it's because we burned down. Maybe it's because we burned down that steel yard or whatever to make room for the new stadium.
Absolutely, whatever. Someone somewhere doesn't like it. So and put it this way, it wouldn't hurt. It won't do any harm. It can only do good, because the whole situation is crazy.
It really is. It really is. So I just want to say big up to Talking Beer. He says, big up Jose, came here to leave you a like. You're a good man, Talking Beer.
Yeah.
He's actually changed his name to be closer to the channel name. Talking Beer's a good dude, good friend of mine. Yeah. Also, the telly didn't show the Hugo goodbye. So we
Yeah,
hope that the fans showed him some big love. I hope
yeah.
so.
I'm. Look, he's been a great goalkeeper for us. Been a great goalkeeper. And I'm a little bit lucky that I grew up sitting um, in the stadium 2 ago, where there was in the end, which was there's cameras in a different position now, but it was the cameras on the west stand. It used to be on the east, so the end to the right was the north stand, and the Paxton Road people, anyone older will know what I'm talking about, was terracing and seats behind, and used to sit in the stand behind the goal watching Pat Jennings. Now you're too young to remember Big Pat, and I know he went to the other lot, but that was the club's fault for thinking they could do better. He was a remarkable goalkeeper. Hugo mate was a good shot stopper, great shot stopper, but he had some weaknesses for me. I will not forgive him for downing tools at Newcastle. Whatever happened in that dressing room, he was the captain, he was the leader, and he's never been on our bench since.
Yeah.
So whatever happened wasn't right. He got convicted for drunk driving.
That was bad too.
DUI.
So bad that he had vomited on himself. No good at all.
Man who's earning £150,000 a week or whatever
Can't get an
can't
Uber.
afford a £20 Uber. Give me a break. Give me a break.
I lost a lot of respect for him after that. Exactly.
I think, Julie, just to say, I gather from the commentary that the fans showed him big love. So you're okay. You're okay with that. But I thought he had some fundamental weaknesses as a goalkeeper, to be honest, and that's because of watching Clement and watching Big Pat.
Yeah, his distribution was bad. He wasn't nearly commanding enough in his box, but his shot stopping was immense. But I think Vicario is just as good.
His shot, well, Vicario's better. His shot stopping was good, but it was much better on his left side than his right. And I don't see that very often in goalkeepers, that he was significantly weaker at stopping shots on his weaker side. Normally they can at least stop shots. The other thing, one-on-one, his first reaction was to go down, which often meant if you hit the ball high, he couldn't get back up. It was almost like a scaredy reaction. They're just things that I noticed. I'm not saying he was a bad goalkeeper. He wasn't a bad goalkeeper.
And he had opportunities to leave
didn't command his box. Weak on those one-to-ones. Never saved a penalty. Never looked like saving a penalty.
He saved that one on that Arsenal match.
Right hand side.
He saved a penalty against Arsenal once. That was a pretty big deal. I think it ended up getting us fourth.
Did he? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. But I just wanted to say, Ian, we've been going for like an hour. I've got to work soon.
I think an hour is more than enough. If anyone's still watching, I just have to say, Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year, absolutely.
I think for once, we can talk excitedly about what might happen at our club. Regardless, it's always been the Tottenham way. It's always in our DNA to play the game the right way, to get the ball on the floor, to pass. One thing, whatever else is happening, you can't help but enjoy this football, even if it's not good for your bowels. It's at least good for your it's at least good for your spirit, And
yes.
Yeah, Happy New Year to everybody in the chat. Colin, you and anyone else that's had me on a stream, thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely.
Talk incessantly for an hour.
I love it. I honestly love it. One thing I do want to say is really quickly before we go, Ash, I don't know if you've been watching, but we've got the White Chat Lane show on our channel that Ash does for the Hindi community and just anybody who wants to watch. It's tons of fun. Usually those are the day after a match, but seeing as tomorrow is New Year's Day, and there'll probably be some, having fun tonight. We're pushing that one more day, so that'll be Tuesday, 2 p.m. GMT. And we'll post more about that before, but I just wanted everybody that was here to know that is still going on, just not tomorrow. It'll be the day after tomorrow. Any last words before we head out?
Always for me, Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. And I'm going to play us out with the song I always play us out with, the James Madison song. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Big love. Thanks for supporting the channel. And I hope you all have a great new year.
My team has got James Madison. James Madison is what we need. Whoa, thank God we got James Madison. This kid plays ball like you would never believe. Whoa.